Hello YouTube, this is Captain Nav. I hope you are all doing well. In this video today we are going to look at the PMDG 747 version 3. We are in London Heathrow on the British Airways 747, and we'll have a look more precisely at how we can program the FMC on the 747. As you can see, the aircraft is powered up and is in a long setup state. So in that aircraft configuration, when you look at the FMC for the first time, you get to this menu page with all these various options. So we'll click on left one up here and get to the first page we look at, which is the ident page. So first we check the model, 747-400. Then the engines, it's equipped with Rolls-Royce engines, so I guess this is the code for it. Then the nav data, at the time the video is made, it's the Iraq 1704, and we've got the active dates here. And then the drag fuel flow, which is for the cruise degradation, which is a kind of aircraft and airline specific thing, and then the operation program. So we don't really look at that. And then we can go to the next page, which is the pause init page. So in the pause init page, what we are trying to do is basically tell the computer where the aircraft is. So you can see we've got these dashed lines there to enter the reference airport, or basically the departure airport. So we'll enter Echo Golf Lima Lima, which is the ICAO code for London Heathrow. You can also enter the gate if you wish, but it's not compulsory, because it's not always in the database as well. And then we've got to tell the RS as well where the aircraft is. So to tell the inertial reference system where the aircraft is, we need to go to the overhead panel. There is 3 RSs there, and set the 3 of them on nav. Once we've done that, we can go back to the FMC, wait a few seconds, and then you'll see boxes appear under set RS position. Here we are. And to set the RS position, we'll take the GPS position, the line above. Click on it. We set the latitude and longitude in the scratch pad. Click, and now the RS is set. At this stage, we need to wait, depending on the PMDG settings, for the RS to align and basically set up the instruments. As you can see, it's going to take about 7 minutes. The instruments at the moment are totally useless. So once this is done, we can now go on to the following page, which is basically to tell the computer what route we're going to fly. So here there's 2 options. You can either enter the route manually, so enter the origin and destination airport, and then on the next page start with the first waypoint on your flight plan, and then enter airways, waypoint, etc, etc. The way I'm going to do it in the tutorial here is to use the data link feature. I much prefer that way. And to use the data link feature, you click on send, and it gives you the list of all the routes you have saved in your PMDG setup. So you can see we've got the 747 routes, 777 and GX, whatever PMDG aircraft you have. So the 747 routes will locate our route today is going to be Echo Golf Lima Lima to Lima Fox Papa Golf. So here is at the top here. So we'll select it. It's highlighted, and then press the request down here. So we can see we got the sending message showing under request there. That means it's being sent, and then we've got the send message, meaning that the request has been sent. It's all simulated, there's nothing really happening there. Then we get in the scratch pad here, down here, the route 1 uplink ready message, and also the message here in yellow on the side. So we can clear the message. We know that the uplink is ready, and click on load, and we get once again in the scratch pad the route 1 uplink loading message, which we can disregard and clear. And yeah, the route basically is now loaded in the FMC. So we got the origin airport, Heathrow, destination, Paris. Now we've got the flight number, the runway here, and also the code for the company route which we used. And on this prompt here we can save the route if you have entered the route manually or if you've made amendments on the route itself. So at this stage what I'm going to do is enter the flight number. I'm going to use a random ATC call sign for British Airways Speedbird 123, so BAW 123, and set it here. So that's the flight number, that's usually the ATC call sign. And then we'll go to the next page, so press the next page button and basically check that the route we have loaded is actually the correct route which we're gonna fly. Once we're happy, we can activate and execute. You can see the execute button, the white appears there. We can press the button and execute the route. Now we've got the wind data uplink ready message, just to let you know that the wind data is ready to be uploaded as well. So the next thing we do is go to the perf init page, where we are going to tell the computer what our fuel reserves are. In this case 6.9, of course depends on the reserves in your flight plan. What our cost index is, I'll use 100, but you can use any numbers as per your wishes. And then what our cruise altitude will be, same thing according to your flight plan. So in this case flight level 230. And that's all we can do at this stage here. We'll leave the zero fuel weight. We'll look at it later on. Let's move on now to the departure arrival page, and in this case here at the London Heathrow departures, the first page that will come out is actually only the departure page. So we'll select the runway here on the right hand side, runway 27 left, the runway we're gonna choose for departure, and on the left side we've got a list of departures. We're gonna use the Midhurst 3 Golf departure, so we'll click on the departure here. You can see it selected as well as the runway, and once again execute. After this we'll go to the route page, use the route prompt here, and check that all the information is now present. You can see we've got runway 27 left showing, which was missing before. And then on the next page, Midhurst 3 Golf departure shows to Midhurst. There's no discontinuity, everything looks good. Once this is done, we go to the legs page and check that the standard instrument departure waypoints are all correct and properly sequenced, and also that any speed or altitude restrictions are properly set in the computer. So we'll come back to legs page number 1 out of 3 by pressing the legs page button. And after this we'll go to route data. Remember, the wind data uplink was ready. And then press on the load button there. So we have to wait a little bit. The exec light comes white, and at the same time we get the descent forecast uplink ready message. So we can disregard the descent forecast uplink ready message by pressing the clear button and then execute the wind data. To check that the wind data is there, we can pick up any waypoint on the flight plan here. For example, WAFU, and you can see that we've got data for a sample of levels there, which is all good. So we'll go back to legs page, and then our next step is to go to the nav rad page, nav radio page, and we can see at the top we've got VOR left and VOR right, which are automatically tuned by the computer because Midhurst is part of the departure there, so it's doing a good job. After this we go to the progress page, just check that the distance is correct in relation to the flight plan. Then we'll go to the route page, do a route copy, and then copy it onto route 2. You can see that on route 2 all the information is there, so that's all good. Go back to the previous page and then click on the route 1 prompt to go back to route 1. Now we'll check where we have got all the uplinks, and you can see I forgot on purpose the descent forecast uplink. So this is what would show if you forgot to use the uplink. So we're going to descent forecast, and then press the key there for load, and the descent forecast winds are gonna be uploaded, as you can see now on the screen. You can change the transition level in Paris 060. And if we go back to the FMC com page, you can see now that all the uplinks have been uploaded, which is good. Finally, we'll go to the fix page, enter, for example, the MSA based on London VOR. So we'll pick up the first London waypoint here, set 25 DME /25 or circle 25 DME on London, and then the transition altitude, for example, here in the predicted altitude. And in the VNAV climb page, we'll set also 6,000 feet for the transition altitude around London. And that's pretty much it. At this stage, we'll go back to the init ref button and perf init page and wait. You will now continue to set up the aircraft and then come back to the performance data entry in the perf init page. So to enter the zero fuel weight, you can press the zero fuel weight prompt. The zero fuel weight shows in the scratch pad, and put it back in the zero fuel weight box. And you can see also at the top left, you've got the gross weight of the aircraft. Moving on to the thrust limit page, usually we derate the takeoff power. We don't take off with full thrust. So the moment full takeoff power is selected, we're gonna reduce the takeoff thrust. So we're gonna take a derate of 20%, and you can see now it's selected, and you can see at the top right the EPR has reduced as well. We're gonna also use an assumed temperature, so we're gonna enter 45, for example. We're gonna assume that the temperature outside is 45 degrees to further reduce our takeoff thrust. Then we'll go to the takeoff page, and you can see you got quite a few options here. What we'll do first is enter our takeoff flap setting and the acceleration height. The acceleration height is basically when we're gonna accelerate to retract the flaps. So we'll enter flaps 20 / and then we'll change the acceleration height to 3,000 feet above the ground, and enter it here at the top left. We'll leave the engine acceleration height, the thrust reduction, we'll leave everything the same. And then by pressing the associated button, we'll select the V1, and then the V rotate, and also the V2. And the same principle for the CG. I'll press the associated button. It's CG of 21% in the scratch pad here, and we'll press the button again, and if we wait a few seconds, it'll give us the trim setting, which we can set once the hydraulics are pressurized. And that's pretty much it. The FMC is now set, and we are ready to go as far as the FMC is concerned. Guys, that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching. If you find the video useful and informative, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and if you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask them in the comment section. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you soon.